Welcome back to the Roll Tide Rewind in 2025. We are here to discuss some Oklahoma offensive film, but Alabama just had a victory against LSU, winning 20-9. Defense is looking very impressive. Defense has probably been the reason we're winning all these games the last 3-4 weeks, I would say. But we're here to break down Oklahoma's offense and see what they bring to the table. And with me today, first time Roll Tide Rewind joining in member Cameron Dickinson from Detroit, Michigan. How are you, Cam?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great, ready to break down some film. James isn't here. He's camping out for the Commanders-Lions game, which Cam is also going to go to as well. We have Ryan. I think he's in Florida. Cole is in New York City. He celebrated Alabama's winning over St. John's pretty harshly. We'll get to him later on. And then Parker, he's calling a high school game, I think, on a Sunday. Odd, but here we are. Let's dive into some Oklahoma offensive film. So the first part of this video, we're going to go over the Oklahoma run game against Alabama last year. Now, Alabama fans, if you remember, like me and Cam do, I was at this game, and you remember how just miserable this game was. But Oklahoma dominated Alabama on the ground. Oklahoma had 257 rushing yards last year against Alabama. Jackson Arnold, who is Auburn's quarterback, who has since been benched for Ashton Daniels, ran for 25 carries, 131 yards, and it's Xavier Robinson, who's number 21 right there, but he is still on Oklahoma's team wearing number 24, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5.9 yards per carry. Oklahoma only had 68 passing yards last year against Alabama, and that was more than enough to blow Alabama away. The score was 24-3. Even though you see there the score is 3-3 before halftime, it never felt close. Oklahoma in the first quarter fumbled inside the 25-yard line, and then on the next drive, they drove down the field, did a trick play, receivers wide open in the end zone. He drops it, and then they missed a field goal. It could have been worse. It could have been so much worse. But when we go back to these runs here, as I was just talking over everything, a lot of these are simple quarterback read options, quarterback draws, but pulling the guards in Alabama is very misaligned on a lot of these plays. And then I like this design by Oklahoma here, bringing the running back from as a wide receiver, acting like you're going to motion him to the other side of the field, and then he just stops on a dime and gets the run play. As you see there, this is Xavier Robinson pulling the guard, pulling the tight end, and Alabama's just so misaligned on this play. There's a hat on a hat, and there's just not any Alabama player to account for the running back. And then you see Arnold here bust up the middle for a good play. And we'll talk about this game for a minute and how we remember this, and then we'll go into the Oklahoma run game from this year. But we'll see even on this play right here with Arnold. Cam, what did you think about this play right here? What's the big problem you see on this play right here?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously with that, we let the quarterback run free. Didn't have anyone to contain that option play, and he just pulled it for a big gain. And if you think about last year, all the losses felt really similar. Maybe save for the Tennessee game, but we saw Vanderbilt destroy Alabama on the QB run game. We saw Oklahoma destroy Alabama on the QB run game, and then we saw Michigan destroy Alabama with the QB run game. And that was our weak spot last year. And the question is, I think, have we cleaned that up? There's inklings to say we have in some ways. But then if you look at the first game against Tommy Castellanos, he tore us apart. And did Lenore – oh, look at that. Wow, I timed that really well. Did Lenore Sellers – did they call, like, designed runs for him, or was it that we actually contained him? Obviously, he did pretty well, but he didn't run away with the game like this Oklahoma game last year. So I think it just boils down to how have we responded to stopping running quarterbacks and game plans that center around running QBs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wrote down some stats for the game, but I will show before the video, not the game.
Mhm.
But we'll see this Castellanos play kind of similar to that Arnold play we showed earlier, where no one accounted for the quarterback. When you see Castellanos fake the handoff here, both linebackers, I believe this is Yanze Pierre and this is Deontay Lawson, both bite down. There's a hat for Bray Hubbard. There's a hat for Zabian Brown. So everyone's accounted for because of them biting, and you're asking them to beat Castellanos to the edge when he's already got a head start. And he's going to win it every time. And then I have this Pavia play here. This is like the best run Vanderbilt had during the game besides their like 65-yard touchdown run to start the game. But quarterback run, this is their best. They pull two guys to the right side, and it busts Pavia open for a big play. And we'll see on the replay here, Vanderbilt's got an overloaded side to the right. They have basically an up back and a tight end, and both up back's going to pull out to try to confuse the linebackers. And then we're going to see the tight end cut underneath here, and everyone's accounted for. Blocks are made, and that will spring Pavia free. Yep. And we'll go into the stats that I have. Like you mentioned, Castellanos, he had 78 rushing yards as a quarterback. Gunnar Stockton, who I say he's a running quarterback, but he doesn't run it a ton. He had 22. Pavia had 58, and 36 came on this run right here. So pretty okay. Prabula had 61 yards, and then Sellers had 67 yards. So what are we going to do with Mateer? Is Mateer going to be in the 60 range, or is he going to bust out one of his better rushing games? So
yeah, one thing I'd like to talk about too in regards to the QB run game. In the second half, our defense as a whole has generally done pretty well. We've made good second half adjustments, but if you look at the 4 games that we've let up the most amount of points in the second half, those games are USC or South Carolina, USC. We let up 16 points, and then Florida State, Mizzou, and Wisconsin, we let up 14 points. And in those games, if you look at the leading rusher by gains, obviously in college they subtract sacks from rushing, but those leading rushers were Sellers, Castellanos, Prabula, and O'Neal, which was Wisconsin's quarterback. So the 4 games we let up the most amount of points in the second half, it's running quarterbacks. But in the Vanderbilt game, we let up 0 points, and the leading rusher was Pavia. So is the Oklahoma game going to look more like the Vanderbilt game, or is it going to look like the South Carolina and the Florida State and maybe the Mizzou game? Obviously, Wisconsin's a little bit of an outlier. We were up big going into that second half, but just something to think about and see if Alabama's up for the challenge.
Did you see Wisconsin? They had 48 passing yards, and 24 of them came from their punter. Yes. Crazy stuff, man. And they won the game.
First game ever that a punter led the winning team in passing yards.
Maybe
I would like to talk about this. Go back to the Castellanos. So I think you said it was Yanze Pierre on that edge. That's his job to seal the edge there. He's the one that bit down here and went towards the running back. Like 0, I think that's Lawson behind him. Like he's supposed to have the running back there, and Yanze isn't. And obviously it's first play of the game. And I think if I remember correctly, Yanze was kind of the 3rd string linebacker to start the year and suffered some injuries. I don't know if we had suffered the injuries at that point, but he wasn't the starter. But that is his role on that play on the read option to take the QB and be ready to seal that edge.
Yeah, and either him or Deontay, someone's got to have the hat on the hat for the quarterback. Even if it's Deontay's job to bite down here, Deontay Lawson has to be responsible for this gap, and both of them go to the B gap, and that just leaves this area wide open. Blocker. You're just asking Bray Hubbard to get off a block. You're asking Zabian to get off a block whenever. It should just be a hat on a hat.
Yeah, and I think one thing to think about
into Oklahoma's run game. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say one thing to think about is, like, it's very hard for any defense to stop a running quarterback because in a running back you have more defenders than they have blockers in the box typically. But when you start including the because the quarterback's not going out and blocking some defender. But when you start including the quarterback in the run game and he has the rock, that means the running back that's in the box can go and block the defender, and you have a numbers advantage as an offense. So that's just one thing to think about as we're like just honing in on these running quarterbacks. Is it is really difficult to stop a team that runs their quarterback. And it's going to be a tough challenge for Kane Womack as he, designs this game plan.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go into shifting from Oklahoma's run game last year to Oklahoma's run game this year. And the difference being they have John Mateer at quarterback and not Jackson Arnold. Mm-hmm. John Mateer has 306 rushing yards this year, 6 touchdowns. They have 2 running backs they use primarily, Xavier Robinson, 401 yards, 4.3 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns, and then freshman Troy Blaylock, 332 yards, 6.4 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns as well. But you see a lot here on these plays. It's a lot of design quarterback runs. They're trusting their offensive line to make the blocks they need to and trusting Mateer, his elusiveness, and also his strength. He gets hit a lot. He's not one to shy away from contact. And then Xavier Robinson, you see here, busting free against Ole Miss. And in the Ole Miss game, Oklahoma's offense wasn't as efficient as it should be, but they had 2 big plays they busted open to keep them in the game. But what do you see in Oklahoma's rushing offense this year, Cam, compared to, I guess, last year?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that sticks out to me is I think from watching Jackson Arnold last year and from watching John Mateer this year, I think Mateer is less athletic. Arnold has the speed. He has the ability to cut really well. And Mateer, it has that ability, but not as well. But what Mateer has in size and bulk, Arnold doesn't. So it's kind of a different running style in some ways, where he's not as agile and quick, but he's willing to blow through a tackle or two and gain those extra yards.
Yeah, you can see like against Auburn here, he had 2 really big runs in this game, and even including this one to go ahead for the touchdown. But Mateer at one point was he was the Heisman candidate. He may have been, I think, the betting favorite at one point, like 4 weeks into the year, and then he had to have his surgery on his arm that it was his hand that caused him to miss the Kent State game, and then he came back against Texas, and then he hasn't had as efficient numbers as he did whenever he did in the beginning of the year. But still a great player, still a good guy to have at quarterback, and also just in the run game where you have to account for not only the running backs, because like against LSU, Alabama was never banking on Garrett Nussmeier pulling a read option multiple times during a game, but Mateer, you have that thought almost every single play that they're wanting to get him the football.
Yeah, for sure.
And we saw against Tennessee how they're like Deshaun Bishop, their running back, he had a pretty good game. So and these running backs both can run the ball. So how's Alabama going to respond to an efficient run game?
Yeah, and it's not like we've even handled running backs that well. I mean, I think about that. There's been at least, and it's been cleaned up the last few games, but it has felt like each team we've played has broken off, a 50 or 60 yard rush, at least one point during the game. Not last game, but actually, I think there was a big LSU run.
Yeah, it was like 37 yards.
Yeah. So Alabama's due for one run breakdown every game. It seems like, but it's like, can they continue? And they did a good job against LSU. But yeah, LSU wasn't that great of a running team to begin with, and coming into this game, so
they're somehow worse than Alabama.
Yeah, that's hard to be worse than Alabama this year.
We'll go into Oklahoma's passing game. Oklahoma does not do a lot of deep balls. When I was going into film, I was just kind of seeing a lot of quick, short pop plays over the middle, and digging further. Mateer is 7.4 yards per attempt. That is 68th in the country. So very much middle of the pack of yards per attempt. They have three guys they like to get the ball to. They have three guys that have 30 or more catches. They have Isaiah Satanga, who you see right there. This is his longest catch of the year, 76 yards. And it's not off of like a deep ball. It's off of a blown slant by Ole Miss, and he has like 65 yards after the catch. Satanga has 692 yards, 14.1 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns. Deion Burks, 42 catches, 435 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 10.4 yards per catch. And then they have a good tight end, Jared Kanik, 410 yards, 13.7 yards per catch. No touchdowns. That's him right there, but maybe touchdown coming soon for him. But their longs is what I'm looking at is kind of weird, because a lot of receivers will have these crazy long plays. Like Satanga here has a 76-yard play. His next longest reception is 36 yards. Deion Burks' longest is 34. Kanik's is 48. So no 50-yard or more catches from these receivers besides Satanga's right there. But the short game is efficient. Like, you're getting 6-7 yards a pop on these plays. Like, their yards per catches are 10, 13, 14. You're getting those consistently from these guys. And if you're getting that consistently, you're just going to keep moving the ball up and down the field. And then in some of these plays, they're muscling for extra yardage. They're breaking tackles. They're making guys miss. And Mateer's quick to get this ball out. Like against Tennessee is a great pressure team. And that's a great throw right there. But Mateer's quick to get these balls out, knows where his guys are going to be. And off of a bye week, you have 2 weeks to prepare for this Alabama defense. There's going to be holes, especially on the first drive. The scripted drive, I think, is going to look really well for Oklahoma. I could see them going down and scoring a touchdown, and I wouldn't be like very fearful, but I do fear that they're going to, with 2 weeks to prepare, their back's against the wall. They have 2 losses. If they lose again, they're out of the playoff. This is a do or die game for Oklahoma. They're the more desperate team, and that's what I am looking forward to seeing is how does the pass game go effectively, because they're not just going to beat Alabama by running the football. They're going to have to pass the ball.
Yeah, and I think our strength is our pass defense, which is good and also bad because Oklahoma likes to run the ball a lot. But with the quick pass game, I think that almost favors the offense more than it favors the defense. You're not really asking the cornerbacks and the safeties and the linebackers to cover for a long time. You're asking them to get into coverage really quickly and understand and diagnose the play really quickly. And I just think it's a time for disguising of coverage. If you're going to throw quick, if you're going to run these quick passing concepts, you have to disguise coverage as a defense. You have to bait them in, you have to trap them, and you have to just test Mateer's mental quickness and acuity, and just put him into a situation where he's not comfortable. And that starts with stopping the run game, because it's easy to pass when you have to sell out for the run. So yeah, I think that's my thoughts on their passing game, for sure.
Yeah, and with these short passing games, you're going to move up and down the field. And then if you're presented with like a 2nd and 15 here or 3rd and 15 here at Oklahoma's 43-yard line, say like they got that play to the 35, they didn't get any yardage. They have a really good kicker. Tate Sandell has kicked 2 field goals of 55 yards or more this year. He's 6 of 6 of kicks on 50 or more, 18 of 19 on the year. He's almost automatic. So even if your Oklahoma's getting, say 40 yards on a drive, congratulations, you stopped them. But they got from the 25 to the 35. Now they're in field goal range. So with some of these teams that we play that are getting to the 35 and they're not confident in their kicker, Oklahoma, if they get to the 40, they're probably going to throw Sandell out there to kick the field goal. It's 57 yards, but they're going to be confident that he can hit that field goal. So
yeah, and I think about the Mizzou game, there were a few times where we stopped them in questionable field goal range for a college team, and they had to go for it because they didn't trust their kicker, and he had missed one previously. And if Oklahoma is making the kicks, I mean, you got to score touchdowns then on the offense. Mm-hmm. Can't let them. I mean, we can't kick in confidently at this point.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Well, the reason Mateer, I would say, probably was high up on the Heisman list in the beginning was his playmaking ability, as you see right here. And that's just like a beautiful play against Cam's arch rival, Michigan, the Michigan Wolverines. And we'll see here on these next few plays just Mateer's ability to get out of the pocket, make plays, and also make plays on his legs, which I think is going to be the key for this game, is how do we contain Mateer on third and like 5 or more opportunities? Because on these plays right here, this is 1st and 10, but you see like you can see the trust that the receivers have in Mateer, because watch up here with Deion Burks, and I think that's Satanga as well. As soon as Mateer rolls out here, Deion Burks starts blocking. He knows that Mateer is probably going to run the ball, and he doesn't even try to keep running a route. And you can see Satanga just turns around and starts blocking. They have all the trust in Mateer to make this play. Some quarterbacks, I would say Ty Simpson, would be looking to throw the ball here, and you would see Alabama's receivers start running routes, but Oklahoma's receivers start to block because they know Mateer is going to be the guy to go downfield and make the play. And then we'll see in the Tennessee game, I was very impressed with his ability to make plays with his legs, but his ability to take what the defense gives him. Tennessee blitzes 5, and they leave no one in the middle of the field. And that's over 25 yards of just open grass for him to get any yardage that he wants to. But we'll see the replay here. Safety's going to bail to cover the boundary. 4 defenders right here, only 1 defender here. And then that's all the green grass that a quarterback like Mateer will ever need to make a play.
Yeah.
And
one thing
we'll see here. This is a 3rd and 16. I was very – yeah, you go ahead.
Oh, I was thinking if you go back to that Michigan play and then one after, this one, or I think,
did you just want to see Michigan do that again?
No, kind of. But I just think like here's this rollout, and then I think the next play is a designed QB rollout where he moves the pocket to the right. And I just think about the LSU game last night. And the first 2, I think, 3rd down conversions or maybe 1st down like conversions where they actually completed a pass and got the 1st down were designed QB rollouts by Nussmeier. And obviously it says a lot that LSU came off a bye week and thought that was the scripted plays they wanted to go with against this Alabama defense. And we see that Mateer can do it. So can we contain, can we set the edge to keep him in the pocket and not allow him to do these designed rollouts? Or, I mean, one of them was a scramble drill, but that's just something that's definitely going to present problems for Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the problems that I see like on this play right here, and then on this play here, this 3rd and 16 play by Mateer is incredible. 1, it's 3rd and 16. 2, the score as is 3rd quarter, and then just the ability to know where the 1st down marker is here and be able to make a play. Puts his head down, doesn't slide. He's not going to be one to slide. Ty will slide. Well, Ty seldomly slides, but Mateer's never going to slide.
Yeah.
And he's going to get the 1st down here over 20 yards. But we'll go to the South Carolina game. We were talking about this before we were filming. We think Lenore Sellers probably is the best athlete at quarterback that Alabama is going to play this year. But it's also just because he's very hard to bring down. I've never seen he's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen at breaking out of a sack. And we'll see here, just should have been probably down at the line of scrimmage, and he ends up making it a 3rd and 1. That's the difference between a 3rd and 8 and a 3rd and 1. And South Carolina is able to continue the drive here and make a field goal. And I have a few more plays. So it rolls out here. Realistically, ball's at 25. If Kelby Collins makes that play, that's a 14-yard loss.
Yeah.
What does Lenore Sellers turn it into? A 5-yard gain. That's a 19-yard difference. And then the last one I'll show here is it's going to be similar to this play by Tennessee here, where they leave Mateer's so much open field and he sees it and immediately takes it. We'll go to the South Carolina play here. Watch what Alabama does. Just very, like, Lenore Sellers has all day to run. And we're able to not make a play. And we'll show the replay. The blitz that we brought, it looks like a safety. That's a linebacker in a corner, and it leaves the open field. So I was mad during this game that we didn't have a spy for Sellers a lot of the game. I feel like with this Oklahoma game, do you think that a spy is going to be a need for us, or do you think we should be using it, 50-50 at the time?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good, even 50-50 of the time. like percent of the time, you're at least putting in the quarterback's head, like, oh, they've used a spy before. There might be a spy here. And just giving him kind of a little bit of pause before like tucking the ball and running. But Womack loves his exotic blitz packages and showing and then bringing the pressure, or showing and then having guys step out into coverage. And I feel like when you run those exotic blitz packages, sometimes you can lose containment of the quarterback and lose just the ability to play your gap soundly and just present openings for the quarterback to run in. So I don't see Womack getting away from his blitz packages, even though there's sometimes where I'm like, hey, like we need to chill it out, run a little bit more of a vanilla pass rush here. But will that include some, blitz packages where a guy looks like he's going to blitz and then ends up being a spy and not in coverage? I think we could see that, and I think that'd be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely like mixing up the blitz packages. It's anything to confuse Mateer, which I believe will go to the last point of the video. Texas really confused John Mateer in the Oklahoma offense. So this was coming off of a bye week. This is Oklahoma's first bye week before Texas. Their second bye week before Alabama. But Mateer, like I said, was a Heisman frontrunner betting favorite when he got hurt. They had a surgery. He missed the Kent State game, had a bye week, and then this was his triumphant return that everybody was very much anticipating. Texas held him in check. Mateer had 202 passing yards. He had 38 pass attempts. I forgot to do this research, but I bet 38 pass attempts is probably the most he's had in a game. And I think that tells the tale of this game. He threw it 38 times, 202 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 36.3 QBR, which is probably his worst of the year, 14 carries for 5 yards. That includes sacks. For a team, Oklahoma had 30 carries for 48 yards. By far their worst of the year. Mm-hmm. Texas had 5 sacks, 7 TFLs. What did they do well? They pressured him well. And we'll see on this play, Texas starts off with 4, walk up a linebacker. They then bring another linebacker on her blitz, and it causes him to make a very errant throw and an interception by the Texas defender. But before the play starts, you can see with this linebacker begins to walk up as Mateer is starting to say hike, and then this linebacker comes on a delay, and that really screws up Oklahoma on this play. He's unaccounted for. The guard over here there's not a communication. This linebacker is just running free, and Mateer notices that, and he sends it and bails quickly and throws quickly, and it ends up being a very bad throw and an interception. We'll see it better on this all 22-ish angle. But even the guard gets that nose guard does a lot of damage there. But I think, what did you see here, Cam, on this play?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you're running this exotic blitz package, but you're also running like a trap style coverage on the back end. That cornerback that plays that makes the interception, it looks like to Mateer that he's covering 4 on this play. If you look at this all 22, he kind of steps back, sees the pass, got the eyes on the quarterback, and steps up into that corner route ran by, I think it was a corner route. At least it was thrown as if it was a corner route. That slot wide receiver. So, yeah, and I'm not as well-versed in our defensive packages, but I would assume when we run blitz packages that we are trying to trap and we are trying to just mess with how we're running these zones to bait the quarterback into turnover-worthy plays. And we see that Mateer will throw it if it looks like it's going to be open, which it did until he realized, oh, that guy's playing zone instead of man on number 4.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll see on this play, Texas lines up 5 guys, brings them all, and pressure almost immediately. And credit to Mateer here. They gain 2 yards on a play that probably could have lost 7 or 8. But you can see with this package here, they have a lineman like lined up as a linebacker walked up, outside linebacker walked up, in, and they're playing man here. You see how those corners are lined up, and they're going full man, and immediate pressure by the defensive end here causes, and also a bobbled snap too doesn't do Mateer much favors, but the pressure was going to be there either way. No matter what the bobble, pressure was going to be there all the way. And
5 was probably as hot. I mean, especially because he pops open pretty quickly on this route. The bobbled snap, can't throw it. Like he got pressure soon in his face, and didn't have the opportunity to throw that pass on that break by number 5 there.
And then I think this is the last one that I have. Pressure, 13-6. Game still close despite Oklahoma's offense not being perfect. This one, Texas actually bails pressure. They show like they're going to show like a blitz, and they bail, and they still get to them pretty quickly. The offensive line is just confused, and a very bad throw again by Mateer. Oh, this is the last one. Sorry, guys. But you can see here, linebacker acts like it bails, and then with this, they have 3-on-3 over here, and that's kind of where Mateer is wanting to go. And just a destruction by the Texas defensive line there. This is going to have to be where LT Overton probably has to make a play, or like Keon Keeley, Yanze Pierre. This is where they're going to have to show up whenever we're not bringing a blitz. Because I think what I liked about the LSU game was there was a lot of times where we just rushed 3. Their offensive line wasn't doing well against Alabama's defensive line, so we just rushed 3 the whole game. I don't think this is going to be the case in the Oklahoma game, but the trust in the defensive line, especially since from the first 2 games to now, is much, much higher, I would say.
And I think we found a really solid pass rusher in Yanze Pierre. Last year, we really struggled to get sacks and bring the quarterback down, and Pierre's figured it out. And yes, has it come because there were some injuries to the linebacker core and the edge core, for sure. But I'm glad we found a guy that really can bring the quarterback down and get pressure.
And what a blitz here. Crazy. They have 6 guys lined up. 3 of them are going to back off. He's going to guard the tight end. These 2 linebackers back off. And then this corner is bringing the blitz here. Like, what a play call. And they're not ready for it. Oklahoma's offensive line's not ready for it. Defensive line and beats them anyway because they're confused on where they're supposed to go. And really just messes up Mateer. But yeah, as we were saying about
it's a great
defense, like their pressure rate has been insane lately. Yeah, go Cam.
Yeah, it's great timing by that cornerback too. I remember in the LSU game, we had a guy blitz, and he showed his hand a little too quickly, and we got bailed out by their wide receiver dropping the pass on a 3rd down, close to the end zone, if you remember that play. But he, I think they probably hard snapped, LSU did, which made the cornerback have to show his hand, and it was clear that that wide receiver was going to have the 8 yards he needed to get the ball thrown to him, where it probably is similar here in that play. If Mateer knows that cornerback's coming, he might immediately throw it out to that wide receiver and give him an opportunity, number 4, an opportunity to, get 5 yards and make it a manageable 3rd down.
Yeah. And then we'll see here with I feel like with how Texas was bringing blitzes, like showing like pressure and then bailing, I think Justin Jefferson's going to be a big key to this game and how he's been able to pressure the quarterback. Now, poor South Carolina, they don't really have the best offensive line. Like, I don't know what the guard's doing on this play. 72, he's lost. And but Justin Jefferson takes full advantage of that. There's going to be times where an offensive lineman's confused because they're thinking they're accounting for one guy and it's the totally opposite guy they're not accounting for. And that's what you got to take advantage of if you're Alabama. And then this last play here I wanted to talk about because this was the pick 6 by Deshaun Jones. And for pressure-wise, this play happens because of pressure. Now, does it also happen because South Carolina's running back drops the ball into Deshaun Jones's hands? Yes, it does. But the reason the ball was thrown to the running back like it was because there was pressure in Lenore Sellers' face quickly. And he has to bail, throws it, and it goes right into Alabama's hands. Now, even though this was kind of like a lucky occurrence for Alabama, plays like this happen when you get pressure. Opportunities happen when you get pressure. And that's just why it's important. You want to make Mateer feel uncomfortable. And this was very early in the game for South Carolina. The first quarter, their second drive of the game, first play, it's a pick six, and it helped Alabama win the game. Alabama's offense didn't do that much against South Carolina, and the pick six and the fumble on like the South Carolina's next to last drive really changed the game for Alabama. And then even against LSU, Alabama's offense has been iffy, and the defense came through again. And against Tennessee, pick six by Xavier Brown. Like, the defense keeps coming through when they need to. And like, the offense is what's getting widely known by the media with Ty Simpson at quarterback. But I mean, just being honest with ourselves, our defense is the reason we're winning games. It's not the offense. Even against Georgia, Ty Simpson's game where everybody started throwing his name in the Heisman frontrunner list, Alabama's offense scored 0 points in the second half. So the reason we're winning games, not because of the offense, it's because of the defense.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. Like we talked about how Texas showed the pressure and brought the blitz. Alabama will do it. Alabama will show and disguise their blitz packages like we were talking earlier. And pressure the quarterback. And this play that we're talking about here, where we get that pick six, it reminds me a lot of what the LSU game looked like. There were so many plays that it looked like and we were talking about this earlier, it looked like a leak out running back screen where the offensive linemen were supposed to let guys go through so that they could block. And no, it was actually just that they really aren't good at their jobs. And they had to check it, or Nussmeier had to check it down pretty quickly. And if we can get the Oklahoma offensive line to look like that, we're gonna be feeling pretty good. If that can be a consistent thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be big to have to make Mateer feel uncomfortable in this game. I think if we can make him feel uncomfortable, I think we have a better shot of winning, because if Oklahoma starts scoring a lot of points, I'm not exactly confident that Alabama's offense is going to be able to keep up in that game, which is kind of crazy to say, but it's just the truth of the matter. But I think if Oklahoma's held to under 20 points or even held to like 20, that's going to be a safety scenario, I think, for Alabama.
Yeah.
Do you have any last things to say about this game, Cam?
I mean, if we're talking like keys or anything like that, it's definitely shutting down Mateer, his run game, and the Oklahoma run game at large. In the two losses that Oklahoma suffered, Mateer gained 17 yards against Ole Miss, net yards, not just gained, net yards, including sacks, and 5 yards against Texas. So we can see if you shut down Mateer's run game and scramble ability and sack him so that the net yards are low, you have a pretty good chance of winning the game. The only other game where Mateer had under 20 net rushing yards was against South Carolina, and they didn't really need him to run the ball. They shut down the South Carolina offense pretty handedly when they played them, so they didn't need to have Mateer have many attempts. He had the lowest amount of attempts of rushing, including sacks, in that USC game. So yeah, I think the key to the game is shutting down that QB run and getting pressure and getting sacks, and making the net yards of Mateer look pretty low.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the content. Don't expect much football content because of ESPN's YouTube TV's little endeavor right now. So expect some basketball content on the channel. But we'll have this breakdown on Monday, and then the game will be on Saturday. But hope y'all enjoyed the video and hope you have a great rest of your week, and roll Tide.
Roll Tide.